Hello, good morning, welcome to my channel. It's your host Edgar. Welcome to another episode of the topics gas boilers. Today I'm going to be touching on some topics and it's going to be covered on the sealed system, and on the sealed system we've got system boilers and unvented hot water cylinders. So I'm going to be discussing how this system works and how you can identify this type of system if you have one in your property. So I'm going to talk through the components. I'll just touch base on the components that you can find on your sealed system or unvented hot water system that will help you to identify if you've got one of this type of system in your property. Come along with me, I'll show you. So right on the bottom I've got the sealed boilers on the gas boilers. Remember the last time I talked about how the other systems work with the other types of boilers. So today I've reserved this video for the purpose of this topic, which is quite key. And the trend tends to be that the UK system is now being converted. The older systems, which are conventional boilers, are now being converted to these types of boilers, sealed system. So I'm going to be discussing that today, and this is how the system works. Now, system boilers are combi boilers minus hot water function. So well, for an engineer, we know when we see one, we just know it's just exactly the same look as a combi boiler, but it doesn't have the function, an additional heat exchanger that will do your hot water instantaneously. So for that reason, this is called a system boiler because it does only your heating, and the Megaflo or whatever cylinder that's attached to it will do your hot water side of things. So this will do your heating. So this part will do your heating. I'll just say the heating. And this side will do your hot water. So that will do your hot water. Okay, so now having said that, today the components I'm going to be discussing is the components you'll likely find if you've got one of the systems in the property. Now, the systems that can have this kind of components are classed as sealed system. So it's called sealed system because the whole system is sealed. It's pressurized rather. So it's a pressurized system. That means it's all compressed. So and the heating takes place within a controlled atmospheric pressure. So now the boilers, these types of boilers, the way they work is they will normally work. They would look like this. I'm going to put a picture of it on the description there. So you would have 1, 2, 3. You'd have 4 pipes there. So you have the return gas, condensation pipe, and flow. And then you'd have a PRV here, which is like a discharge pipe. So you have 5 pipes here. So there's no old or new system boiler. They're relatively new. They're purposely designed to be very efficient, to do your heating very efficiently. So the way the systems work is they would basically just heat up the hot water, and you have some components attached to it. So basically you'd have this boiler like this. You'll see a picture of it on my description on the video and on top of the video. And then you'd have a cylinder like this one. So we've got one of this here. I've got this one here purposely for this purpose of demonstration of this video. So you've got one of these cylinders. You can't miss them. So they look like this, very sleek. This is a 150 liter cylinder, and this cylinder would basically cater for a 2-bedroom house. Usually put this in a 2 or 1 bedroom flat. So yeah, so this is how this works. But so you find a cylinder like that, and then also what you will find will be an expansion vessel. So here's an expansion vessel. So if you can see that, that's an expansion vessel. So this is for the hot water, and you'll find similar one, a red one, that will go with the boiler. So you'd have two. Ideally, you'd have two. So the next question I'm going to ask is, you might be thinking of is, why should you have this kind of system? Or when should you have this kind of system in your property? Ideally, if you've got a family home, if you've got a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom property or bigger, you want to ideally go for this kind of system rather than a combi boiler. So if it's a family of more than 2, ideally you should be going for this kind of system because of the advantages I'm going to discuss on this video. And the advantages are, this system would work, it's got a backup system. So if in the event of a broken down boiler, if this boiler stops working, you will be able to have hot water from the cylinder with your electric heating. So you can heat this with electric. So there's a backup electric immersion heater there that's attached to the system that you can attack, that you can heat the hot water up for the family. So whilst you wait for the repairs to be done, you can heat up your hot water and still have hot water to use in the property. So I think for that reason, this is a great advantage, because if you had a combi boiler works instantaneously, as you know. It's got its own heat exchanger inside the boiler. So it's got a small heat exchanger inside the boiler. So that will heat the water up, and then you get hot water through the taps. So for this other system, for a system boiler, I'm gonna take off some part of this. So before I go on to describing how this system works, so a system boiler would normally come with an unvented hot water cylinder. So you'd have an unvented hot water cylinder attached to it, which is popularly known as Megaflo, which is this type of cylinder. So it's a sealed cylinder. It's a sealed system, not open vent. Sometimes you'll find them with the old type of cylinder, which is the copper cylinder. So you'd have a copper cylinder, a copper cylinder, which is the one I described earlier on in my videos. If you've not seen my video, go look at my videos, where you'd have a cold tank, storage tank in the loft, and then you have a small expansion tank, black tanks in the loft. So those are open vent systems. So you can have this type of sealed system. The heating side of things will be sealed, which is pressurized, but the hot water side of things would remain open vent. So preferably what you want to do really, if you've got the right pressure, because the one thing that will determine if you can have one of these cylinders will be your water pressure. So your flow rate and your water pressure in the property, coming into the property, you would determine if you can have this kind of system in your property. Ideally, the manufacturers will recommend anything from 2 bars. So 2 bars is an ideal pressure for cold water mains pressure, incoming mains pressure, for you to be able to have a decent flow in this. So the advantages of this really is the fact that it gives you a balanced flow. So I'm going to come to this later. This is a topic on its own. It's a very huge system, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to just be discussing very quickly how this system is connected up and how to identify if you've got one. So you've got a boiler, so I'll take off this part of things and rub up this place, and then I'll explain very quickly. So you'd have a boiler, a sealed boiler, a system boiler, as we call it. And then you'd have a cylinder. Yeah, so you'd have a cylinder. So your cylinder would be an indirect cylinder. So an indirect cylinder is something like this. You'd have the flow would come into here, and then the return would come like that. So you'd have return, and then you have flow. So within the cylinder you'd have heat. Yeah. So you'd have an element which is like a coil, really, a coil, which would allow the heat exchanger, the main heat exchanger here, to heat up and send heating through and heat the hot water, and that will heat the water inside the cylinder. And then what you get is you get an outlet from the top, usually from the top, and that will go into your taps and bath and or shower if you want, you know, kitchen, wherever, you know. So that would supply your hot water. And normally you'd have a mains coming, you'd have a cold water mains, cold mains will come in somewhere here, and then you have, from there you have a balance flow coming out from part of it. You have the various components attached to this. You have some components attached to this, and you know, so some components will be attached. But then you'd have a balance flow going out to the so you have a balance flow. We call it a balance flow, a balance code, or whatever you call it, you know. So that code will be a mains pressure balanced and going out into your shower, your bath, and your taps, and the same pressure would apply to the hot water. So this is the sole purpose of this type of cylinder, is to create a balanced flow where the flow is balanced in a way that the hot and the cold water have the same pressure, so you don't suffer pressure. Now, this is how this really works. So it's a sealed system. Everything is sealed. You don't have an expansion tank. The only thing you would have an expansion vessel somewhere. Yeah, you'd have normally you would attach that to the return. So that will go somewhere in the return. You have a expansion vessel, something like this. I showed you earlier on. Top one. Red. We use red to identify heat inside of things, and then this white one, you'd have, it will be attached somewhere here on this side of hook. You'd have this somewhere here, so on the water side of things. So you've got two sides. So you've got the boiler side. You've got the boiler side, and then you've got the hot water side. Just put that no space, so I'll just shut that. So you've got the boiler side. I'll just pick this pen now. So, right, so this is how this system would work for you. So the way to identify this, if you have one, because the purpose of this video is for you to identify what to do, you know, in the event of a leak or something during DIY in this time of self-isolation. The first thing you want to do if you have any leaks is to go to the stopcock. So you'd have a stopcock here, which is like a top. Just call it a stop. So you get a stopcock there, which is your shut-off valve. You shut the cold water mains in. That will cut off the water into the cylinder. If you've got a leak on this system, you don't on the heating side of it, to the expansion vessel, you'll have a fin and loop which will come out of somewhere, maybe here, and then it will connect to a cold water main somewhere. So you'll have a cold water fin and loop, you know, to fill it up. So you'd always have a close-off valves, two, from my last video. You see that the two close-off valves, you need to shut them to make sure. One will be a non-return and one will be just a normal valve to shut this off. So if you have a leak within this system, so you'd have your radiators will connect like that. So you'd have a radiator here. So you'd have one here, then you have another one connecting to this. So if you were doing some work and you hit a pipe, you've got a leak from the heating side, you would not need to do anything, because the water, after the pressure is dropped, you would have no flow through the pipes anymore. So in that sense, this is good. You wouldn't get a flooded home or a house. You just get whatever's within the system. If you know where the drain off is, you can drain off from the radiator quick enough before the leak, gets bad, or to avoid more water flooding in your house. But if you hit any of these pipes, the hot water or the cold pipes, you want to shut off these mains, because that will cut off the water supply into the tank. And once it cuts off the water supply into the tank, the hot water will stop flowing, and the cold from the stopcock valve would cease to flow. So this is how the system works, and it's quite good, very efficient, very economical, in the sense that this will save you money in terms of gas usage. It uses less gas because of the reduction of the boiling point of the heating system, because of the pressure, the compression of the system, and the fact that it's a sealed system, it makes it boil faster. So atmospheric pressure is reduced here, so you get a lower boiling point for this. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification button so you can get the notification when I post my next video. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thanks for watching, and please stay safe. I'll see you on my next video. Thanks. Bye.